Recently in the news, there was a story that a guy was supposedly kidnapped his own children who were in foster care, and
Yeah, I
his
saw that
and
stuff.
The Asian brother.
yeah, and he's cut out, and they're looking for
Oh,
him.
for
Met Police,
free of his
free his
kids.
sons, and they're in
I
the
didn't even know
foster
what
care.
happened with that. I saw that.
First time I heard of it.
Yeah, but the Met Police were saying that they were looking for him. That he took Imran Safi, who they say adopted his three young children
From
from a
foster
foster
care.
home. Yeah, in South London, threatened these children's foster mum.
That's
Got
mad.
with a knife,
Hey.
drove away with the boys
I don't know
on the
whether he's
20th of
appalled or not,
August. That's what they're saying. This is the news report. And then yesterday, the Met Police launched an appeal to help to see if they can find the three kids. They're fearing that he might have left the country, etc.
Why
etc.
Summer's gone, bruv.
But I feel like what my thing is with this is that what's the outlook with fathers and their children and having the right to see their children and some of the difficulties. Yeah, and what the difficulties that men are finding to have just a foot within society to be able to see their kids because
Yeah, but the thing is, what led his kids to go?
That's
but
also-
not
we're
even
not
touching
gonna
on this.
speculate,
Not even
just-
touching
just
on this
using that as
story.
a-
I'm
as
just
a-
saying
yeah.
using this
In
as a
general,
base
Okay.
to see
General,
that there's a
general,
man
general.
for one
Just so
reason
we
or
don't know What
another.
was behind it? Why they foster?
There's a man, yeah, for one reason or another, he's
Yeah.
gone to the point where he's thought, I've
And
got to
kidnap
grab my three
and
kids
bounce.
and bounce. I feel like, why are we seeing so much more of these things happening? And why is it in 2020 with all of these advances within, the
Society.
social growth and social impact in certain communities, with LGBT and BBC and all the other things that's going on, all these communities, like everyone's moving forward and we're talking about Black Lives Matters and da. I feel like there's still this issue with fathers and their children and the lack of access that a lot of men, because I always tell brothers, like when I have conversations with brothers who can't see their children because they're going through a madness with their wives, I always say that it's only people that care that can be taken advantage of. Because when you don't care, how is someone going to take advantage of you? If someone's ringing you, come see your child, and you're like, shut up, hanging the phone down. I'm not involved. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
How can anyone put you under pressure? The fact that they're putting you under pressure and not allowing you to see their child is because that form of not allowing you to see the child burns you.
It's affecting you.
It's
so
affecting
much.
you. Affects you so much. That's the only reason they're going to use it. Who's going to
Yeah.
use something that doesn't affect
They're
you?
weaponizing the child against
Yeah,
you.
like someone's not going to ring you up and say, "Oh, you can't see your child this week." You're going to be like, "This
Yeah,
week, I don't want to see them all year," and hang up. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to use it. They're going to be like, "Damn, what can I use now?" But the reason that they call you and like, "You can't see your child this week," no, we're busy, or like a lot of the things that happens is that men will make appointments to see their child they're used to seeing, and then the ex-wife will be like, "Oh, we're busy this week. We're going out. We're going to do something." Just last minute hang-ups.
Yeah.
Last minute to just tick the man off. But at the same time, he's got to pay his maintenance, pay the money. I
Some
feel
stranger
like
might be meeting your kids without your say so in that same week.
that's what I'm
Go
saying.
nuts,
So
man.
as men, or sometimes you find men who say that I won't be able to see my kids, but she's busy, gone out somewhere with friends, and
your
has
kids
left
are
my
just-
kids with
or
her
so-
friends somewhere
yeah,
else.
or so-
And
yeah.
I could have been
Yeah.
looking after them. So I just feel like as men, those who have children on the platform, what are some of the difficulties you think, if not yourself, that you've come across that you think is very difficult for dads? Because at the same time, I feel like dads don't have a voice out here, man. We gotta give them a voice, man.
Boy, for me anyway, I think I'm sorry to put it like this. You guys might disagree, bro, but if you're a waste man, you ain't gonna have a voice. Simple as that. That's the way I look at it, man. If you're just someone that's a pushover and you can be taken for a fool and taken for a mug, like women can smell that in you. Once they
So
can smell
where-
that in you, that you're just a moist waste man, they're just gonna tread. You're gonna be a
So
doormat
where
for
do
them.
you go
This
with
guy
that?
thinks
Where do
everything's
you
about
go?
hood.
My mind thing is this. My thing is this though. Where do you
No, because
go?
I'll give you an example. I had a
Go on.
friend, yeah.
It's not black
His
truth.
his ex partner lives in Bristol, and he used to drive all the way. How far is Bristol? What, 3 hours? 2 hours?
Yeah,
For Cardiff,
3 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to drive to collect his son, and when you get there, she'll be like, "No, you're not having him," and he'll be like, "Okay," and then turn back. Like, bro, like, I just had to speak to him. I said, "Bro, like, this is too much, bro. You have to take, like, you might have to take this to court, man. Like,
But I
this,
feel like-
this is too. Do you understand? Like,
No, but
you're
you know what it
getting,
is though? I feel like when you haven't dealt, like when you've spoken to brothers who
yeah,
have turned up to the house
yeah,
to get their son
yeah,
or their daughter, and the wife says no, and then they have an argument,
Yeah.
and then she headbutts the wall and says, "That's it. I'm gonna tell them you hit me."
No, no.
When
but you
you're
have to-
but I'm
yeah.
saying, but when you're dealing with a woman like that, how do you
That's
tell that
crazy.
man not to be moist?
Yeah.
No,
Because
no,
you're
no, no.
dealing with
No, 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 no.
someone
But
who's
also-
on stuff. Someone who's ready to fall down the stairs.
Okay.
and say you
Maybe,
push me.
maybe I miss.
Like
worded
Lisa
it.
from EastEnders,
Let
like,
me-
shoot
let me-
Phil.
No, hold on.
I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
No, wait.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
On
Look,
the
when I
Eid
mean
day,
moist,
shoot the
look,
ex-husband.
Yeah.
don't be moist. Like obviously, you have to do things with wisdom. Don't let the woman take advantage of.
Good advice. By that time, I'm more than Roman. I'm
Yeah.
on the wing.
You can't like you can't let it get to you. Do you understand? Like if a woman's calling you, say, "Oh, if you don't give me money, you ain't gonna see the kids." Tell her to bust out, bro. Like you know what I'm saying, you ain't getting no money. Like that's what I mean. Like moist. You can't be. Let me finish.
Yeah.
But
You can be a waste man for their kids, bro.
no,
Yeah.
not like that. No, you lot are misunderstanding me. You're
I'm
lot
gonna be a bad man with
misunderstanding.
no kids.
No. You lot are misunderstanding me. If your wife or partner or your ex is calling you, said you ain't gonna see the kids ever again. If you better give me £100 a week or £100 or £200, and you're like, okay, yeah. What are you then? You're basically she got you by your cocoons, like your cahoonies.
But, what do you
Yeah.
take
But
to
you understand
that
my
level?
point?
Because you don't just go.
Yeah, I feel like
That's what I
that's the
mean.
thing,
That's what I
innit?
mean.
That sounds like the week
so
before you ditched it.
Nah, for
Everyone's
me-
situation is different.
Yeah,
innit?
it's
And
true.
this is what I'm trying to say, but I
Everyone's
just feel like
different,
there's an overwhelming picture of a lot of men who want to see their kids and can't see their kids because they're weaponized against them. And I feel like we're seeing that they said there was a statistic that came out the other day that 21 men every week die or kill themselves, take their own life, connected to not being able to see their kids. That's 21 men
That's
every
deep,
week
man.
take their own life because they can't see their kids. So my thing is this: what is going on out here? Because there's a load of men who don't want to see their kids, happy to make them, don't want to see them. You know what I'm saying? And they're not. No one can't chase them. No one can't find them from anywhere. They're doing their thing. Then there's those group of men, because I find it difficult to understand that you know, like my thing is this: how does a person use the fact that you can't see your kid without you wanting to see your kid? Like I'm trying to get back to the basis that the fact they can use it against you
Because they've
Because they want
indirectly
to, yeah.
says you want to see them. So for every woman that says, I'm not letting him see his kids because, the minute you say because, that means the only reason stopping him seeing his kids
he wants
is
to.
you.
Yeah.
Because you're saying because.
Yeah.
Because if there wasn't no because, he would be seeing his kids.
Yeah.
So he's not giving you the money, or he's been moving a certain way.
Yeah.
One of them, I don't
We're
like.
not
it.
talking about abusive
Yeah,
fathers.
no,
by
yeah,
the
not
way.
talking
Yeah,
about
yeah.
abusive men and that we know that they shouldn't be seeing their kids. But we're saying no, he's moved on to a new relationship so quick. She's still better, so she's like, I don't like the environment you put my
6
kids
years
in.
later.
You know what I'm saying?
Still too
like so. All of this because I feel like for every good woman out there, you know, raising their child, doing what they're doing, and trying their best to allow their children to be, or their father to be in their children's life, I feel like women that do this take a lot out or take a lot away from those women, because there's a load of women that you would hear that would be like, I call him every week, I try to make it easy and take the kids to him, he's always busy, he's not around, blah blah blah. So you find that they're out here doing the most, these type of women, and then you find there's another group of women who will use any excuse not to allow their baby father or whoever to see their kids until they get things how they want, without looking at the impact that it has on the children. And when we had dadless daughters here the other day, they would tell you why they're pro fathers in the household, because the importance that a father has to a young girl at such an early age in her life is something that can't be imitated, can't be replicated, can't be replaced. And I feel like we're having too many of our young girls and our young boys growing out without fathers when they can. But think how mad it is where you grow up for 10, 15 years of your life without your dad being in your life, and he's always been half an hour away from you. Like you've
10
lived
minutes,
in
5
you've been in
minutes.
South London, and he's always just been in chilling in flipping somewhere like, I don't know, Ealing or something. He's just been there. He's raised a whole family there. He's had time for you, but because him and your mum for
Don't
some
get on.
reason, bumped heads to the point you couldn't, but he was always ready to come and be there. I feel like that's just a massive detriment onto our community, and some men don't survive that. A lot of men have been taking their life because of that, and I feel like sometimes women don't know the power that they have when they say no. Like, another question I want to ask you lot: starting with you, Ali, is that do you think men who don't, men who want to see their children but don't pay no money towards their children should be allowed to see them? And I want a nice long. I don't want no 2 minute and you're out. I want a nice.
Is Ali
something.
qualified to answer this?
No, I just
though?
want to know, just in his opinion, if you don't pay your money, if you don't pay maintenance towards your children for whatever reason, you don't have a job, you don't have no money, you're low on money, but you still want to see your child, should you be allowed?
My unlearned, humble opinion is yes.
Why? We don't want a yes, no.
No
We're not in
reason-
the police
no,
station,
it is.
big man.
No, I'm just- the brain is buffering. That question it was technical. I was
Come back.
thinking,
Come
right,
back.
wrong.
Come back.
Dealing with
Nah, Ali
left,
wants to
right.
speak because we're gonna get. He's
Yeah.
not speaking in the podcast. He's chilling. We'll see.
Yeah.
Give it a
And then
speak,
don't
big
sleep.
man.
Why
Well,
not?
yeah.
Come on, why?
You know
You know what I'll say?
Your time to shine.
I'll say yeah. I want to shine in this, bro. I wanna shine this topic. I'll say yes.
I want everyone's
Well, you've got a
reason.
relationship with your dad, innit?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
tight.
So speak.
So if he wasn't giving,
yeah.
say if he wasn't at you in your household and he wasn't running no peas, would you still want to see
What?
it?
I don't. He was.
Of
He was.
course.
He's struggling.
Struggling,
or-
yeah.
okay.
For whatever.
But I'm-
my thing is this:
Yeah, go on.
say he's not struggling.
Okay, but
I just don't want to give. No, I don't want to give this woman any money, but I want to see my kids. Are the two connected? Yes or no? Why and why?
They may or they may not be, but the original question being, if he's not providing for his kids,
Yeah.
all right, cool. With
He
that,
doesn't want to provide no money for them, but he wants to see them.
I still think he has the right anyway, because as Muslims we know this is a God-given right. If he wants to maintain the ties of kinship, he might be faulting him where he's not providing, as that is his responsibility, as per he's the dad, but he still wants to have time for them. That's one aspect of giving a child one of his main rights. So if he's not cutting everything off, we shouldn't cut his nose to spite his face. If he didn't provide, no problem. That's a big shortcoming. That is a big oppression upon the kid. As a father, you're one of the two parents. You should provide. But if he was willing from his own self as a father to spend time with his child sincerely, and then he fell short in other important aspects like that, then at least you might as well let him do as much good as he's willing to do, because then you're just fully cutting off the children from the few things that he needed to do and he wanted to do, and that would benefit the child in some way, because he weren't going to do other things. That's like saying
As a
if your mum
child,
wants to cook
but
but not
you-
sleep in your house.
But
as
you
mad
as
it
a
is-
child, would the image of your father change, not knowing that,
Alright.
knowing that he didn't give money to your mum?
Well, like, I never went through that, so I wouldn't
No,
know.
but I'm just saying
as
as
a
a
little
child,
child, no,
yeah.
let me land. What I'm saying to you is, I never went through that, so I wouldn't know. Alhamdulillah, my father provided whatever, done everything. But if I was a child and a young infant and whatever, common sense would tell you that, and up until a certain age, all I'd remember is the time he spent with me. I wouldn't even remember the technicalities
That's
of
what I'm saying.
did he pay for that. I'd remember this guy was
Yeah.
here every weekend, and bruv, when we say don't provide, he might not be dropping no big cash like he's meant to and go half to the mum or whatever, in whatever capacity, but even the little stuff that he does while he's spending time with you, like paying for the fun fair, taking you out,
Can't buy
that's in
time.
your brain.
bro. You can't buy time.
And I'm not advocating for men not to spend on their kids, you know. I'm just saying.
No, I just want to know
like,
if it's important.
if
What
he's
do you
at least
man
good
say?
for that, let him at least do that. If he's at least good for that one bit, then let him do that, bro.
What do you man
But
think?
for me, it's like what's providing. Do you get your kids what they need, or is it providing you're not giving her the money because XYZ she's gonna misspend it, or she wants to go raving? And
No, he sent the question. He said, if you don't want to provide the kids,
Yeah.
I said full stop. He doesn't give a penny towards his
you
children.
still should
He
still have a
hasn't.
right to see
That's
them.
bad. But
Yeah,
he's doing
I'm
one
just saying.
good.
Yeah, that's one. I'm just saying.
You
But
should
should
still
he?
have a- you should
should
still
she
have
be
a
allowed
right
to
to
see
see
his
them.
kids?
she ain't got the right to say no.
Yeah, of course, I still think you should have a right to see them.
Yeah.
But what you can claim later on down the line is different.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But I still, honest to God, you can't buy time back with your kids. Doesn't
do you
matter
think?
how much money you give
Yeah.
anyone,
Bro, I'm
they're
gonna
not
keep
going
it
to
simple,
remember as
bro.
What
much
if she
as
didn't
time.
want to cook? Can
No,
we take
because
can
I'm
we
just
take a
saying,
child
no,
away?
if
No,
he
no, we'll
doesn't
come
want
back
it,
to
that's
that
what I'm
because
saying.
Islamically, if
That
we all
makes
lived in
sense.
Muslim countries, we'd have
Yeah.
custody of our kids
Yeah,
and it'd be the
yeah.
mums having this
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is what it is, isn't it?
I'm just gonna keep it simple.
He says that all the time when he gets technical.
No. It doesn't cost to be a father, innit?
Yeah.
It doesn't.
It doesn't cost. It's simple as that, bro. Like it's two different entities.
Because why I ask this question is that the number one issue that we hear is he doesn't pay money towards his child. Whenever we hear why don't you let him see his child,
Yeah.
he doesn't pay money towards his child. So
Yeah.
I'm saying, cool, forget
Because
that.
he's a kid in
He
Selfridges
does.
and he's
My
renting
thing
it.
is this then.
Do you see what I'm saying? There's a
So
kid
my
in
thing is
Selfridges
that.
to
So
be
this is
rented.
why I asked the question. Even if he didn't give a penny towards
Yeah.
his child for the first 18
But-
years of his life, just say that he didn't give one penny.
Yeah.
Should he still be allowed to see his child? Because if the answer is no,
Yeah.
then we can start having this conversation. Men are not paying towards. So this is one of the reasons they don't.
Nah,
see their children.
I think you're still entitled to see your child, man. Because end of the day, like you might not
Your
be.
child.
No, like
Yeah.
look, you can look money and relationship. Look, money is one entity, and the relationship of being a father to your children is another entity. You don't need this to be this. Like, does that make sense? Like, you can still teach your children how to be men, how to grow up, how to have morals, how to have respect, and all of this stuff. Now, the money issue is gonna come back between you and your ex-spouse.
Yeah.
That's something because end of the day, I'll be real with you. Women, for them to make their, like, what I think anyway, for them to make their thing go around, or their world to go around and things to work for them, is usually finance. Does that make sense? Because women, they're usually the one at home looking after their children. They ain't got time to go work, or they ain't got time to invest in themselves, or etc. because of kids, whatever, yeah? So in return for them, they need some type of financial help, which is understandable.
Of course.
But now, some women might understand the man's situation, like, okay, you ain't got money, but at least give time for your kids.
Yeah.
Or
'Cause-
some might be like, no, you're just not giving me money, so you need to fix up, otherwise you ain't gonna see your kids. So it's kind of subjective, isn't it? It's kind of like,
because for me, I always think that is the parent seeing the child for the parent, or is it for the child? Who's
that again, sorry?
is the parent seeing the child? Is it for the parent? Am I allowing you to see your son or your daughter, or am I allowing my child to spend time with their father? What's
So-
the question? Is it because if someone has an outlook where
Yeah.
I'm allowing you to see and so the child is secondary to this,
Yeah.
it's I'm allowing you. And if you don't pay up, I'm not going to allow you because it's going to burn you. Then you're not looking at the outcome of what it's
'cause
doing to your
you're
child.
depriving the
Because
child
my
as
thing
well,
is
right?
that this is a child that was born into the world with two people. And as long as both people want to be in the child's life,
Should let
then
them know
you
where
should
they come from.
you should create some type of
I've got a
access for
question
that to
for you.
happen. But what happens to me as a child, I think to myself, if I grow up with a father who doesn't pay no money towards me for the first 18 years of my life, doesn't give my mum a penny, and then I turn 18 and he says, look, I've been putting money in your bank account, here's 20 racks, here's 25 grand, this is for your future, I never gave your mum money, whatever, he might have his reason, and then boom, he gives you 25 grand. You're going to look at that from a whole different angle to how the mum's been looking at it. Or if you have a dad, when you turn 18, he still doesn't give you a penny, but you've got so much fond memories because he's shown you how to be a man in an aspect and schooled
Like
you,
he raised
whatever. But then you find that he never gave your mum a penny. For me, I turn around and look at my mum and I say, you know what? Yeah, you're serious. Like I
You
start
rate
to have
your mum
more.
more.
Yeah, I give mum more ratings.
Yeah.
So it's for me. It's like whatever happens is, it's a win-win situation for me because I had both parents in my life. I get to understand that dad, he was a wrong in that. But you know what, mum, I rate you because you made me feel like he was giving you money.
Yeah.
I never felt that. So
Yeah,
you must
yeah.
have went in extra hard, and for that. When I get work and I get a good career,
Yeah.
I'm coming
Look
back
out-
to help you, mum. I'm going to
I've
look
got a
after
question
you.
for you, Musa.
Well,
Would you rather a stingy dad or no dad?
what do you mean? This is what I'm trying to say, man. We
Nah,
don't
I hear
care.
you, no, man.
Stingy dad.
Yeah, but
Stingy dad alive?
stingy dad.
But
Yeah.
this-
That is basically my answer. 'Cause it's wrong, but I'd rather
I'll
that.
give you an example. Right? My dad's never been around, yeah? Cool. If he gave my mum money, what difference would that have made to me? In the long story short.
Yeah.
so you're
I
basically...
can remember him. I can remember a few occasions that I'm gonna come. and never turn up. He could give me 100 racks. No, it's not gonna buy back those occasions.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
seared into my brain till the day I
Yeah.
die, bro.
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
what I'm saying? There
Yeah,
is
yeah.
no substitute for time.
But let me ask you, so I
Well,
don't
us,
understand
innit?
it.
There's
So,
no
Yeah.
substitute. Wallahi, it's
did
the
your
truth.
did your pops give your mum money, but he never gave
No,
you
he
time?
didn't give nothing.
Okay.
Neither of
Yeah,
the two.
but that's
Do you
why
see
they
what I'm
say
saying?
presence
But even if he was giving
over
money,
presence. And we
couldn't
hear that
undo that,
statement.
man.
So
Okay,
okay,
that's-
let's flip the script. What about if the dad was giving money, but he never had time?
The money, that's
And
what I'm
he
saying,
was
doesn't
giving- and he was
help.
giving a
He
lot
said
of
doesn't
money.
You
help.
don't
That's
care.
the
Money
No,
don't
but
help.
okay, like I'll give you an example.
He's saying that now, if that was to happen right
of
now.
people, they might be like working abroad. Their family is like, I don't know, in Africa, and they're
I'll
sending
give
them
you another
money.
example myself.
Is that-
When I was in Saudi, wallahi, when I worked in Saudi, I was there for what, 7-8 months.
Yeah.
I was earning good money. My kids were running riot, bro.
Yeah.
Running riot every day. I'm getting, there's this. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'm literally on the other side of the world.
Yeah.
See, when I came back, not an issue again for the last 10 years.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
it.
however long. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
presence.
7 years. Yeah, so the
presence.
presence itself, just knowing, even though me and them mum separated, the peace of mind now is actually in the country.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between my son and I'll turn up at nursery and drag you out.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Rather than, I have to FaceTime daddy across the world and I know he's going to get angry.
Yeah. Then I'm gonna hang up.
Yeah, or the older one's
Yeah.
like, he's going to go nuts down the phone, but he's on the other side. It's not as intimidating. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think
So
so.
I
You
don't
have
know.
to strike the balance, though, man.
Yeah, I think it's.
But
a
even
important
though I
discussion,
think it's
though.
important that the time is more important than the wealth.
Yeah, no, money. We're not saying that dads shouldn't be giving money. They need to give money. But
No,
what
they-
we're
they-
trying to
no,
tell,
they do.
what we're trying to tell women,
But if
that
it was one
when
or the
you're
other,
caught up
it's
in
the time,
yeah,
no?
when you're caught up in the heat of it all, we're not saying it's a simple situation, because when you're dealing, especially with a man who you know's got money, man's flipping, buying Balenciaga, he's going raving, he's going all over the world, he's got £500
He's
jeans
an
on,
A-Julius
and
buying-
yeah, and your kid hasn't got nothing. Of course you're going to be fuming, and of course he's taking a mick. But we're saying that at the end of the day, your child doesn't know that, and your child doesn't see that. As long as he wants to be a part of your child's life, and he's a good role model, and he's not no abusive father and any of those things, then I think it's important that for you to kind of revalue how you look at that. And Allah knows best. We're not saying we know all the answers. I'm just saying it from my perspective, and I'm saying we're individuals who hold down their children and look after their children.
You know,
and do what we
you know,
want.
what would be good to get some single mothers and
That can have a talk and see what they say.
Do
And
you
some
know,
single
do you know what
fathers
else
to
it
break
is as
down.
well? It's like, say for us here, we want to take a more active role in our kids' lives and whatever, because we've seen however much through the years what happens,
Yeah.
and just the pain of not having that relationship. I think both parents, like, you have to stay away from making either one the villain,
Yeah.
because you can have a villain out of the two parents. When a child's old enough, they'll start realizing
Yeah.
kids are not stupid, bro.
yeah.
Like, they know, they'll pick up things. You think kids don't hear when mommy's going, oh, this waste
Spider-Man
man's not sent me
villain.
money, or the dad, this woman's chatting bare rubbish. They hear it, bro, and they absorb it. So the thing is like, you want your children's first two role models to be mum and dad. You see what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, taking it, we're talking about, as Muslims, the Prophet said, but
No,
as
we
your
know,
parent, you see what I'm
even-
saying?
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
You
That's
want
who
you
look
want
up
mum
to,
and
innit?
dad,
Your-
exactly.
Your
This is
parents
what I'm
are
saying.
heroes to you.
So as a parent, as a dad,
Yeah.
I might not get on with XYZ, but I want them to look up to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because that's their mum. Doesn't matter what any other woman does, that's their mum. And same with dads. Like, you should want your son or daughter to look up to the father,
Yeah.
as long as he's not abusive, etc. Do you get what I mean? But yeah.
We're
everyone's
gonna
different,
wrap
man.
up, boy. Today's
quite
been a
intense,
show.
it was
Obviously, we've been
been
away
quite
for a couple
intense.
of weeks, so we've had to come back and put in some work
We got the brands, man.
and then keep it moving. What's that?
Volpa, Creamy Cash, Cindy. You know what I'm saying?
Blackwood.
What's
Mr.
that, Benza?
Trapper.
Come on.
Wonder Mix.
Wonder mix. Wakanda mix.
And yeah, and I always forget to tell the viewers, man. You guys, listen, check out Resole. Go and check out our Resole account. If you've got any trainers you want to donate to the project and to the homeless and to the young people, go on our page, book in an appointment, and we'll come out and collect your shoes. And just keep on supporting the brothers. We out.